Every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is a story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Good evening and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Ebulomo Oguntoye. In our major story, female suicide bomber carrying a baby strikes in Zaria, killing 26 people. Also in this program, President Muhammadu Buhari approves a bailout package for states to cushion the effects of financial crisis. Activists gather in Lagos to remember MKO Abiola 17 years after his death in detention. And outside Nigeria, Somali terror group Al-Shabaab strikes in a border town in Kenya, killing 14 people. A bomb explosion reportedly carried out by Boko Haram insurgents has gone off in Sabongeri area of Zaria, Kaduna State, with 26 people confirmed dead, including a 2-year-old child. The bomber was said to have a baby strapped to a back when she detonated the bomb. The blast reportedly went off at 9 a.m. at the local government secretariat, where civil servants were undergoing biometric screening. Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai, who visited the scene of the blast, confirmed that a terrorist bomb attack killed 26 people in Sabongeri, Zaria, with 32 people injured. He called on citizens of the state to be vigilant and avoid crowded places like markets, mosques, churches and motor parks in the next few weeks. It would be recalled that on Monday night, a young girl believed to be just 13 was killed when explosives strapped to her body detonated near a mosque in Kano City. The explosion came a day after another suicide bomber blew himself up at a church in the city of Potiskum, Yobe State, killing 5 people in a twin attack in the central city of Jos that killed 44 people. There was no immediate claim of responsibility, but Zaria has been attacked before by Boko Haram Islamists who have increased their attacks on civilians in the last month. Zaria is located some 75 kilometers from the capital, Kaduna City, in the north of Kaduna State, not far from the border with Katsina and Kano States. The area of the blast has since been cordoned off by security personnel. Some of the eyewitnesses at the scene of the blast spoke to CoreTV News.
For screening, all of a sudden we heard a noise. All we could see was dead bodies. I was holding all my documents, standing waiting for my name to be called. The next thing, I saw myself in the hospital and all my documents gone. We came for the screening that was on for the past 2 weeks now. All I could hear was a noise, and I fell down and I find myself here.
I've already finished the verification. I only came for my check from the local government, and these incidents happened. I fainted and found myself here. Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai has banned beggars and street hawkers aftermath Tuesday's bomb attack in Zaria. The Special Assistant to El-Rufai on Media and Publicity, Samuel Aruwan, said in a statement that the ban takes immediate effect. He explained that the ban was part of special measures introduced by the government to ensure security of lives and property. The government threatened to arrest any beggar or hawker found on the streets until these measures are relaxed. It also maintains that the ban on motorcycles is still in force. As the people of Plateau State are still reeling from the recent twin bomb blasts that claimed several lives, the Plateau State Police Command has called on members of the public to go about their normal businesses because enough measures have been taken to forestall a reoccurrence of the sad event. The Police Commissioner, Nasiru Oki, said 42 lives were lost in the blasts, while 50 are currently receiving treatments in various medical centers in the state.
So far,
How many killed and how many?
42 died by our records, and 50 are injured, presently receiving treatment in the hospitals.
While giving the police account of the just attack, the police boss called on the members of the public to be vigilant and immediately report any suspicious person or object within their vicinity.
Following the recent unfortunate twin bomb explosions that occurred in Jos City on the 5th of July 2015 at about 9:20 hours, the Plateau State Police Command sincerely commiserates with the government of Plateau State, the good people of Plateau State, and the families of those who lost their lives and property during the incident. This is also to intimate the members of the public on the update of the unfortunate incident that the first explosion, which detonated by two female suicide bombers, occurred in Shangalinku restaurant along Bauchi Road, Jos.
The police had to begin a special stop and search operation on roads and highways across the country, with emphasis on roads in and out of major cities and towns. This, according to Deputy Police Spokesman Yomi Shogunle, is on the basis of an intelligence report. He also urged the citizenry to bear with police operatives during the security measure, which he described as a temporary measure put in place to address the intelligence received. The police spokesman, however, noted that the special measure does not necessarily mean that roadblocks are back on the nation's highways. In his resolve to end the lingering crisis of unpaid workers' salaries in the country and in several states of the country, President Muhammadu Buhari has approved a comprehensive relief package. Sources said President Buhari approved a three-pronged relief package, including sharing of fresh allocations, granting of soft loans, and restructuring of state debt servicing payments. The packages are expected to go into effect this week, as the president is said to have directed that release of the funds should be made urgent to assuage the plight of thousands of Nigerian workers in the federal and state governments. Breaking down the packages, about 413.7 billion naira will be shared in fresh allocation between the states and the federal government. The money is sourced from recent liquefied natural gas proceeds to the Federation account. Central Bank of Nigeria package special intervention fund that will offer financing to the state ranging from between 250 billion naira and 300 billion naira. This would be a soft loan that states could access to pay the backlog of salaries, implementing a debt relief program proposed by the Debt Management Office, which will help states restructure their commercial loans currently put at more than 606 billion naira and extend the lifespan of such loans while reducing their debt servicing expenditures. Also, a total of 391 billion naira from the excess crude account will be shared among the three tiers of government, the Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris, disclosed. With the 413.7 billion naira proceeds, it means the three tiers of government will share a total of 804.7 billion naira by extending the commercial loans of the state. According to the third package, more funds would be made available to the state governments, which otherwise would have been claimed at source by banks. The People's Democratic Party is claiming credit for the money released by President Muhammadu Buhari as bailout funds to states. This, it explains, is because a large chunk of the fund came from savings accumulated in the excess crude account handed over to the Buhari administration by the past PDP-led administration. It said the release of over 804 billion naira from the nation's coffers as bailout to states and local governments across the country would go a long way in alleviating the sufferings of the Nigerian workers in various states of the federation, most of whom, it said, have been without their wages for some months. PDP spokesman Olisa Metu said in a statement in Abuja that it was unfortunate that President Buhari had told Nigerians that he might not be able to perform in his first 100 days in office because he met an almost empty treasury. He added that the release of the bailout funds by the president could have been an indication that he was misled on the actual financial state of the economy. Clerk of the National Assembly, Salisu Maikasua, on Tuesday declined comments on his interaction with the police team that visited the complex as part of investigations into alleged forgery of Senate rules. He was accosted by journalists shortly after he led the management team of the complex to pay a courtesy call on Senate President Bukola Saraki. Maikasua held his fingers to his lips and told National Assembly correspondents that he has nothing to say on his meeting with police detectives. The clerk had earlier pledged the commitment of the bureaucrats in the legislature to the success of the 8th Senate. Senator Saraki, for his part, urged the management of the National Assembly complex to key into the change policy of the ruling party and the new leadership of the legislature. Sokoto State Governor Aminu Tambuwal has expressed confidence that the crisis rocking the All Progressives Congress over the leadership crisis in the National Assembly would soon be over. The former Speaker of the House of Representatives, who is heading one of the committees set up to resolve the crisis, gave the assurance to State House correspondents after a closed-door meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari. He confirmed that his committee has been meeting with all the affected parties and expressed his belief that peace and normalcy will return to the National Assembly. It's the Core TV Primetime News. We'll take a short break and we'll be back with more stories. Don't go away.
This is what the people are saying.
You don't run a big economy with generator. They need to do more in terms of energy and power.
Many things to do for this Nigeria about lights, water, and new TT.
For Nigerians that are not gullible, we know that good laws have done nothing good for this country.
Buhari won the election convincingly.
Talk to your husband that you should keep promise about what you said, and because people are watching you, you know, another election is coming.
But some people will stand for Yoruba land. Will be strong man. We don't die.
This nation is moving forward. The best is going to take place.
The people giving voice to the voiceless
is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. It is the month where the Holy Quran was first sent down to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. During this month, Muslims all around the world must fast. They do not eat or drink between sunrise and sunset, and it is obligatory on all Muslims if they are physically and mentally sound, except for the traveler, elderly, pregnant, menstruating, or chronically ill. Whoever cannot fast, it is their duty to feed the poor if they have the financial ability. It is not only abstinence from food and drink, but also a test for patience in refraining from evil actions, thoughts, and words. It is a test to demonstrate submission to Allah, God, and a way to keep the mind and body focused on good deeds and attaining self-discipline. At night, Muslims perform extra prayers in addition to the 5 daily prescribed prayers. It is also a requirement that Muslims give charity to the poor by the end of Ramadan. The rewards for good actions are multiplied in this month, and this is why it is encouraged to reassess our actions, make beneficial use of our time, do extra prayers, read the Quran, and ask for forgiveness so that we may attain paradise through Allah's mercy, insha'Allah.
Many thanks for being there with us. If you're just joining us, it's the CoreTV Primetime News, and here are major stories. Female suicide bomber carrying a baby strikes in Zaria, killing 26 people. President Muhammadu Buhari provides a bailout package for states to cushion the effects of financial crisis. Activists gather in Lagos to remember MKO Abiola 17 years after his death in detention. And for more on CoreTV News, you can visit our social media platforms at Facebook, facebook.com/CoreTV News. Our Twitter handle at CoreTV News NG. On YouTube, youtube.com/CoreTV, with the space, then News. There was pandemonium in Osogbo Tuesday morning when people suspected to be thugs disrupted a protest organized by a group of civil society's coalition for the emancipation of Osun to rally support for justice. Justice Folahomi Oloyede, a 7th judge of the State High Court who petitioned the State House of Assembly to investigate Governor Rauf Aregbesola for alleged mismanagement of the state resources. Reports from Osogbo say skirmishes between the protesters and the hoodlums took place shortly after the rally commenced. The march, which began at Ayetoro Junction about 9 a.m., had earlier witnessed the heat when some people pelted the protesters with sachet water, but the situation was later brought under control. The protesters, led by leaders of CSCEO, were joined by members of the Nigeria Union of Pensioners, NUP, in the march that was to terminate at the gate of the State House of Assembly. Anti-riot policemen were later brought in to put the situation under control. A coalition of 13 civil rights groups has hailed the appointment of Amina Zakari as the acting chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission. The civil society group said at a news conference in Abuja that it was a well-thought-out decision. Leaders of the groups also want President Muhammadu Buhari to forward Zakari's name to the Senate for confirmation as the substantive INEC chairman. 7th July 2015 makes it 17 years since the demise of the acclaimed winner of the June 12, 1993 presidential election, Moshood Abiola. In an event to commemorate the day, members of the civil societies have called on the federal government to posthumously declare him as elected president of the country. Abiola Oluwole was at the residence of the late Abiola, venue of the commemorative anniversary, and here is the report.
Chants from members of civil societies at the Ikeja residence of late MKO Abiola herald the 17th year anniversary of the late philanthropist and politician. Abiola died in an incarceration on July 7, 1998, while trying to retrieve his mandate from the Sani Abacha-led military junta, led by a former military administrator of Lagos State, Indu Bisi Kanu, and the convener of the Women Arise Initiative, Joe Oke Odumakin. The activists centered their speeches on the need for the federal government to keep the spirit of late Abiola alive by banishing poverty from the land, as well as give every Nigerian a sense of belonging by developing all sectors of the nation's economy.
On June 12, Nigerians actually had a referendum, not just an election. A referendum for military rule to cease, a referendum for democracy to resume, not reinvented, and a referendum for one thing more, for which MKO were very much committed, and that is going back to a federal Nigeria where I think the voting, even though tribe and don't deliver, will stand in brotherhood and sisterhood.
Our gathering is to prove a point, and that point is that we will never, ever forget the ultimate prize that MKO Abiola.
Speaking on behalf of the Abiola family, a daughter of the late business mogul, Hafsat Abiola Castello, called on the ruling class to place premium on the yearnings of Nigerians instead of pursuing personal gains.
Even if we've lost MKO and we've lost many like MKO over the last decades, let us not lose the lessons of their lives. Let us be willing to sacrifice for Nigeria. I am concerned by some of the actions of our leaders at the national legislature, the way in which they're fighting over positions, fighting for power. The only thing that's important to fight for now is to end poverty in Nigeria. The only thing that is worthwhile to fight for now is the upliftment of our people.
As the people depart the residence of Abiola, according the needed respect to the man said to have paid the supreme price for the nation's democracy, there remains a question begging for an answer. Will Abiola be given a national recognition? Abiola Oluwole, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Students of the Lagos State University have called on Governor Akinwumi Ambode to prevail on the institution to allow them write their first semester examination. The students who spoke through the Student Union President Adeyemi Onikoro, the students described the inability of the school management to conduct exams 7 months into the first semester. Onikoro says the students are ready for a protest if the state government and the school management fail to resolve the crisis rocking the institution within 48 hours.
Hereby issue a 48 hours ultimatum to the management of the university, to the state government, and to all parties involved to resolve this lingering issue and do the needful to ensure students are called for the exam on or before Thursday 9 July 2015.
And now to Ekiti State, a fresh crisis may be rearing its ugly head in the state, this time around between the state government and the Ado-Ekiti market women. The state government ordered traders at the Burnt Ojoba market to relocate elsewhere, which the women adhered to, but trouble started when the government says the lands taken by the women are not approved, leading to the arrest of the market women leader, accused of collecting money from the women for illegal allocation of land amounting to about 93 million naira. The released Iyaloja has, however, cried out, accusing the government of persecution. Rashid has more.
The past government of Kayode Fayemi has tried all means to relocate traders from the Ojaba market, all to no avail. But with the inferno that ravaged the market, the traders had to move to places earlier allocated to them. One of the new sites is the textile market. The woman in the eye of the storm, Waye Osho, says contrary to government's claim that they own the land, she says the land was leased to them by Odua Group of Company, saying the state government only acted as guarantor.
Land firstly belonged to Odua, and the Odua has for long released it to Ekiti state government. We own the land. Nobody can give our land to anybody anyhow.
Governor Fayemi? It was Governor Fayemi that stood as guarantor for us at Odua Group of Company. I signed for the land lease on behalf of other market women.
The state government further accused the Iyaloja of extortion from her members, but Waye Osho says it's a contribution made by members to erect their shops.
These market women openly declared that they paid. Some said they paid 12,500, and some said they paid 19,000.
12,000 will not be better. Don't finish share one.
The women contributed 12,000 naira each to construct their shops. They paid to the heads of their different trade units. They did the job as a self-help project, and the association was okay with it.
The Yaloja has been released from detention. Her counsel, however, decries this move as witch hunting because of the political leanings of the Yaloja.
That woman of that age, what would have warranted in this modern age putting that woman behind bar in a criminal proceedings? When there is an accused, there must be an accuser. We can only see the accused, we can't find the accusers. Who are the people accusing this woman of stealing their money? It is strange. And if you continue in this trend in this state, I fear we are doomed.
Now that the state government is at daggers drawn with some section of traders, this is another ego battle loading, if the words of political pundits is anything to go by. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado Ekiti.
The Federal Road Safety Corps in Imo State says it is putting measures in place to ensure that reckless drivers no longer have a field day on the roads in the state. The sector commander, Godwin Omiko, spoke to CoreTV News on the measures to address the alarming rate of tanker explosion and accidents. Ajibade Awufeso has more in this report.
The FRSC Imo Sector Command has vowed not to allow recklessness of tanker drivers go unpunished. This followed from a meeting with the national leadership of the Petroleum Tanker Drivers, PTD, where all stakeholders agreed on the conduct of drivers on the road.
And for one to invest so much on the road and hand it over to an untrained driver who does not even understand the rules of the road, the signages on the road, what to do when climbing, a steep, or when descending a steep, or when negotiating a bend and all that. That is the problem. And we are taking it out. Of course, the Commercial and Social Executive have issued an order that such vehicles should be arrested and prosecuted.
The sector commander, Godwin Omiko, says the COP is ready to enforce all agreements reached at the meeting. He also called on business owners to ensure that vehicles plying the roads are roadworthy.
The fleet operators must do their work. The safety managers in the fleet operators must do their work, ensuring that the vehicles are in good condition, that the tankers are in good condition. They are not leaking, the brakes are working, the wipers are good, the tires are good, and more so that the driver who is taking this vehicle from one point to the other is also in the best frame of mind.
He as well restated the call for traders in traffic, roadside markets and illegal parks along the highways to desist from the practice due to the dangers inherent in such practices. Ajibade Awufeso, CoreTV News, Owerri.
Residents of Ute and Uwogban communities in Edo State are demanding immediate action from the authorities of the Benin Electricity Distribution Company for the restoration of electricity supply to the communities so that they can bounce back from economic doldrums that lack of electricity has brought them. Our Edo State correspondent filed in this report presented from our studio.
While speaking to newsmen on the 5-month blackouts in both communities, Samuel Ode and Antonio Garike said they decided to embark on a peaceful protest to drive home their point about the return of their transformer, which was initially procured by the communities. They alleged that it took away the transformer serving the community due to the indebtedness of a few people. Some of the protesting youth barricaded the gates with various inscriptions and placards to show their displeasure.
We've used our money to maintain, but the problem we had is that when the transformer gave up, they said we should come and pay all the debt that was being owned before they took over the light. So this is the situation we cannot accept. We don't know what it is, but what we know is that there are 35 people who are using the analog, while 85 of us are using the prepaid. They cannot deprive the 85 of us who are using prepaid for those who are owing them. They should go and drop, if they repair the light, they should drop those who are owing them. We cannot drop them for them.
In the other side before, when they brought that transformer, it was our own community effort. We paid money, each house is paid over 1.5 to 2,000 naira to be able to bring that transformer. So when they made the transformer now, the transformer was having fault. All the time, instead of giving us new transformer, they went and brought a refurbished transformer. Then at the end of the day, the transformer keep on giving us problem.
For this protester, Henry Iron, the issue has gone beyond speaking with the customer relations officer. She ordered the high authorities of the company must give an explanation on why they will remain in darkness for over 5 months.
It is in an head office, and you are bringing customer relation officers to discuss with us. We have been discussing. We said no, at this point we want to meet with the management who is in a position to take decision, not to tell us that you are going to send the discussions to them for them to meet with us later. So we are still on it. We hope that by the time we end up the discussion, we will be better off.
The public relations officer of the company, Curtis Wade, who was on official assignment and at the time of filing this report, in a telephone interview says based on the documents before the company, the debt profile of the community is huge.
A federal high court in Lagos has convicted 4 companies associated with former governor of Enugu State, Chimaroke Nnamani, and ordered that their properties be forfeited to the federal government. The 4 companies are Rainbownet Nigeria Limited, Cosmos FM, Capital City Automobile Nigeria Limited, and Renaissance University Teaching Hospital. The companies, on May 19, 2015, pleaded guilty to a 10-count amended charge brought against them by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. At Tuesday's sitting, EFCC counsel Kelvin Uzozie praised the court to make an order of final forfeiture of the companies based on their plea. Justice Muhammad Yunusa thereafter convicted the companies and made an order of final forfeiture of the assets to the federal government, citing provision of the EFCC Establishment Act on final forfeiture. The properties are located across the 5 states of the Southeast Geopolitical Zone. Among them are 22 duplex buildings in Ebiano under Tunnel Estate, now known as Fidelity Estate, Renaissance University Teaching Hospital, Cosmos 105.5 FM Digital Station, and Capital City Automobile Limited, located at 12 Station Road, GRA, Enugu. Also forfeited to the federal government include several plots of land belonging to Hillgate Investments. Aside from the landed properties, over 35 million naira from the frozen bank accounts of the companies are also to be forfeited to the federal government. The Plateau State Ministry of Health on Monday disclosed that 167 cases of cholera had been recorded, with 8 deaths since May 2015 in 2 local government areas of the state. Ibrahim Gunto, the Director of Primary Health Care and Disease Control, made the disclosure in an interview with the newsman in Jos. Guntur said 134 cases and 6 deaths were recorded in Jos North, while Jos South had 33 cases with 2 deaths. The ministry had put measures in place to contain the incidents and to reduce deaths, adding that cases of cholera outbreaks were usually rampant between March and September. The director also advised them to wash their fruits with salt water or vinegar and imbibe the culture of washing hands with soap or ash. He also said the people should keep their toilets and latrines and the environment clean and avoid open defecation. We'll take another break now and we'll return with business, sports and stories from outside Nigeria.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on DJ360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
And now outside Nigeria, at least 14 people have been killed and several others wounded in a gun attack near a military camp at the Kenyan border with Somalia. It is believed the victims were workers from a local quarry in Mandera County in the northeast of the country. Residents say they had heard 2 explosions followed by heavy gunfire in the middle of the night. Militia group Al-Shabaab, which operates out of Somalia, has confirmed it carried out the attack. Mandera County Commissioner Alex Ole Nkoyo told AFP that people were sleeping when the gunman struck. Kenya Red Cross said it was sending an aircraft to the scene to fly the injured to hospitals in Nairobi. Their deadliest assault to date happened at a university in the Kenyan town of Garissa in April when 4 gunmen killed 148 people. In 2013, at least 69 people died in a gun attack on the Westgate Mall in the capital, Nairobi. This latest incident is likely to put the spotlight on the Kenyan authorities again over their handling of the security situation. Just 2 weeks ago, the government lifted a nighttime curfew in the area after Muslim clerics said it impeded prayers during the month of Ramadan. The U.S.-led coalition fighting the Islamic State group is intensifying its campaign in northern Syria, President Barack Obama says. Speaking at the Pentagon, Obama said the U.S. would not send additional troops to Syria, but would increase support for the country's moderate opposition. It comes as IS militants were reported to have regained control of the town Ain Issa from Kurdish-led forces. Obama's remarks followed some of the heaviest bombing of ISIS since coalition strikes began in September last year. The bombing targeted Raqqa, IS de facto capital in Syria. Early on Monday, IS militants reportedly regained control of a town near the northern Syrian stronghold of Raqqa from Kurdish-led forces. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, a UK-based monitoring group, said jihadists overran Ain Issa, 50 kilometers from Raqqa and nearby villages. But a spokesman for the Kurdish Popular Protection Unit, which seized the town from IS 2 weeks ago, said it was still resisting the IS assault. YPG fighters and allied Syrian rebels had only seized Ain Issa from IS 2 weeks ago. The jihadist group had suffered a series of defeats in areas along the Turkish border since being forced to withdraw from the town of Kobani in January. And now we move to business. Still on electricity, Abuja Electricity Distribution Company has paid total penalties of 8 billion naira to the market operator for imbalanced electricity taken from the national grid from November 2013 when the government handed over electricity assets to private investors. AEDC, in a statement from its head of public relations, Ahmed Shekarau, disclosed that it has paid that much within 18 months as fine imposed on it by the MO for taking extra power from the grid to meet the demands of its customers in its franchise distribution zones. Customers of the electricity utility cut across the states of Kogi, Nasarawa, parts of Niger and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Shekarau said that the 8 billion naira was levied on it by MO following its repeated collection of electricity beyond its allocated mark. According to the load allocation ratio for distribution of electricity generated into the national grid, AEDC is allowed just about 11.5% of whatever amount of energy that is generated daily into the national grid. As part of its efforts to overcome cloning of electricity meters and other forms of fraud in Nigeria's electricity industry, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, has said it is making some good progress and plans to deploy smart meter technology in the sector. NERC said in Abuja that it has taken delivery of a completed technical work it commissioned on regulation for smart metering, and which will now allow it to set up the appropriate framework for deployment of smart meters to distribution networks in the country. It said that a number of the licensed electricity distribution companies in the sector have indicated their interest in deploying the technology in the networks, adding that the expected regulation will provide the supporting framework for such development in the sector. Chairman of NERC, Sam Amadi, stated at a recent interaction with journalists that the draft regulation will be put out for public review and consideration before it is finalized and approved as a regulatory document for use in this regard. And now we move to sports. The former senior national team handler has advised the Nigeria Football Federation to appoint an expatriate as replacement for fired Big Boss. Former Nigeria senior national team handler Johannes Bomfrey has made a passionate call to the NFF to appoint a foreign coach as next Super Eagles coach. Stephen Keshi was shown the exit door by the Nigerian Football Federation on Saturday evening for lack of commitment to achieve the federation's objectives. According to the Dutchman, who led the country's under-23 football team to win the 1996 Olympics football event, said only a foreign tactician can help the Super Eagles back to the peak again. In his words, I think the NFF needs to hire a foreign coach to take charge of the Super Eagles, Bomfrey told Newsman. The Super Eagles have failed to make much impact since they won the African Cup of Nations in 2013, and it has to do with the inability of the coaches to take the team to new heights. The Nigerian Football Federation is in advanced talks with Dutch coach Hesterin de Roos, who has handled Australia women's team, to take over the Super Falcons. The 53-year-old has also worked with the Dutch FA, PSV women's team as well as the Jordan women's team, leading them to win the 2010 Arabian Cup. Also on her CV are stints with the Netherlands under 15, under 16 and under 19 women's team between 2002 and 2010. Over a decade, she won 43 caps for her native country. The NFF are in serious talks with Hesterin, and it is hoped an agreement will be reached very soon, a top NFF source said. Liverpool striker Mario Balotelli has been granted compassionate leave after a family bereavement and will miss the first day of pre-season training on Monday. According to the Premier League club, the 24-year-old Italian was not with his teammates when they reassembled after the summer break amid media reports of the death of his adoptive father, Francisco, at the weekend. Liverpool confirmed Balotelli had been granted leave but told journalists the details were private. Over the weekend, the former Manchester City and AC Milan forward tweeted, "Thanks everyone for the support, and I really want to thank everybody. My family thanks all of you." Southampton has signed defender Cuco Martina from Dutch club FC 20 on a 2-year contract. The 25-year-old Curaçao international will link up with the squad for a training camp in Austria this week. Southampton director of football Les Reed says Martina is a versatile and experienced defender, reiterating that injuries to Ryan Bertrand and Bevis Mugabe highlighted the need to bring in another defender, and Cuco is the perfect solution. Martina played on the Southampton manager Ronald Koeman's brother Erwin during a 2-year spell at RKC, while which Saints have sold England right back Nathaniel Klein to Liverpool and may not complete a permanent deal for Belgium centre-back Toby Alderweireld, who was on loan at the club last season. And now to entertainment. Renewed efforts are on to rescue reggae music legend Majek Fashek from the streets of Lagos and from addiction to substance abuse. Majek Odumi Fasheke, popularly known as Majek Fashek, is a Nigerian reggae singer who first gained national fame on a television show in the early 1980s. His song Send Down the Rain was a hit, and he won 6 US-based P-Man Music Awards. However, Rita Fashek, who divorced the renowned reggae musician 3 months ago, has revealed that Majek got hooked on drugs and alcohol, which she claims ruined their marriage and fractured a once successful family. While reacting to their marriage breakup, Rita said she discovered his dependency on drugs and alcohol after the birth of their second son over 15 years ago in New York. She described Majek Fashek before the addiction as a wonderful man whose heart is a pot of platinum, adding that he was a very kind and loving person, a great husband and lover who cared very much for their children. The ex-wife therefore pleads with Nigerians to render help as another attempt to rescue him begins. She says an appeal fund has been set up to raise money for Majek's treatment. What a sad note to end the news. Before we go, a recap of the major stories. Reported that a female suicide bomber who carried the baby striked in Zaria, killing 26 people. President Muhammadu Buhari has approved a bailout package for states to cushion the effects of financial crisis. Finally, activists gathered in Lagos to remember MKO Abiola 17 years after his death in detention. And that's it on the news tonight. On behalf of the entire news crew, I am Ebulomo Okotoye, wishing you a pleasant night rest.